Big Dreamers, the Canadian Black History Activity Book Volume 2 is published by Akilah Newton Projects. It's out today. It's a sort of exploration and celebration of the spectrum of accomplishments that Black Canadians have made to our country and our history. Some you know, most you don't. And here to help change that is Akilah Newton, and we welcome you to CP24 Breakfast from Montreal. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Great. Akilah, I realize that it takes reading a book to actually explain what it's about, but we only got 4 good minutes here on morning TV. So you know, how do you describe this book to people and the sort of tactile activity angle?
So Big Dreamers is a celebration of Black Canadians. It started in 2018 with Volume 1. Volume 1 is co-written with my colleague Tammy Gabay, and the first book was an alphabet of 26 different people. And because we noticed that there were so many more people that we wanted to celebrate, I went on to do a Volume 2, which is now co-written by my twin brother, Akilah Newton. And Volume 2 is a continuation of celebrating Black Canadians and Black excellence. However, this book is broken down by province, and we talk about a historic Black province in each, historic Black community in each province.
Wow.
And the people who helped shape it.
What a great idea.
Thank you.
So name, because there's such a regional story in this country too, name a few of the people featured in the book that we should know about.
Well, my favorite, being from Montreal, is Rufus Rockhead, and he's from Little Burgundy. He was a club owner, very much ahead of his time, brought in legendary performers from the States to perform in Montreal. Montreal was known as the Harlem of the North because of Rufus Rockhead. Then in Ontario, one of my favorite stories is Angela James, who is known as a Wayne Gretzky of hockey, of female hockey.
Awesome.
And when she was 8 years old, she was so talented that she was playing with 11 and 12-year-old boys. She was so good that they asked her to stop playing the following year because she was embarrassing the boys. And she actually was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2009, and she's just extremely accomplished, and these stories just aren't shared.
Now, who's the book for? Because there is a very hands-on angle here, right?
Yeah, so originally the goal was to educate youth, but I've had a lot of parents come up to me and say, I bought the book and every night I read a different page to my child, and I'm actually learning a lot as well. So it's created in a way that is very engaging for kids because there's coloring opportunities on each page, but then it's also so great because a lot of parents don't know this information. They're learning alongside their children. Yeah,
you know, there's less attention paid and less scholarship invested into our own academic system for our own Black history and heroes. You know, why do you think, Akilah, we still get swallowed up into the sort of a monolithic American culture when it comes to the African Canadian diaspora, when the origin stories in both countries are quite different?
I think it's because a lot of people see Canada as a safe haven that was void of slavery, but that's not the case. It's because we all know about the Underground Railroad, where a lot of slaves from the South came and they escaped to the North, but we still had segregation in Canada. We still had slavery in Canada, and that's the narrative. We're getting a narrative that's very, pro-Canada and all about inclusivity. And don't get me wrong, in 2020, Canada is a very inclusive country, but decades ago, we still had the same issues that Americans face, but because this narrative is not being told, people don't know about it.
Yeah, so much of what you've written about and have put in the book has maybe in the past been just an oral tradition, and now it's written down. It's it's there, a permanent record. And our final point here, Akilah, we're in the middle of a racial reckoning. All of this sparked by the George Floyd murder and other sad events in America, largely driven by young people. Do you see this moment sustaining itself and becoming a movement that maybe you're going to be writing volumes 3 and more about?
Well, absolutely, and I love how you say that it's a movement, because so many youth are just fed up. The younger generations are just so much more accepting and more tolerant, and they're just outraged by what's going on in the world. So I do see that there are opportunities to go on to a Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, because people are hungry to learn these stories.
And you've apparently got a brand of representative dolls and a national book tour planned for next year when we get past COVID. Akilah Newton, I applaud your efforts, and I think it's an amazing piece of work. And it looks like you've got a lifetime of work ahead of you, and we hope you just keep at it, because we need these stories, and not just for 1 month a year.
I agree 100%. Black history is Canadian history, and it should be included in the curriculum.